so far away. I'm so far away.
That's because you're leaning on back. We're live.
Oh my god.
This table's full too. We look like we're like little tiny people. Hello.
I'm gonna sit on the pillow.
I'm a munchkin.
Hold on.
I'm just gonna sit like this because like I'm like a munchkin.
I'm gonna sit on a pillow. Taller. Does that help?
Not at all.
Oh wow. Hello. Look, I got a fancy necklace on.
Go ahead.
Welcome to this week's episode of TV Tuesday. It's still Tuesday until. Ooh, we got about an hour and a half.
So we made it on time this time.
We made it on time. Thank you so much for watching us exclusively on YouTube, or as my dad would say, El YouTube. Check us out on our website, HollywoodMatrimony.com. It's up there on the banner. And make sure you will find us on Facebook, Instagram, and the Twitter. Today we're going to talk about TV stuff.
Sorry, and I'm trying to get it shared out there.
Are you sharing?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I should do that too.
Why don't you start? Do you have anything?
So let's talk about something new and fresh that just came out, which was the George Lopez comedy special. He hasn't done anything in a while, so I'm very excited. It's right now on Netflix, and it's called George Lopez Will Do It for Half. Because that's what everybody, the people are like, we can do it for half.
And that wasn't that an old joke he did, one of his previous?
I think so.
Too, I think.
But this is so exciting. So it's a brand new stand-up special on Netflix right now. He's dealing with culture, immigration issues, getting older. And I think he's hilarious. I want to watch this over again. Like, I feel like it was really short.
It was only an hour, but it's getting where a lot of the comedy specials are only like an hour long.
Man, I just... and I like that he brings up some of the stuff with like his wife, which I don't know if they're even married anymore.
No, they've been divorced. The one that saved him with his kidney or whatever.
He's so funny. He's like, I've got one kidney that's mine and one kidney that's somebody else. I mean, it's funny. So if you've been watching for a long time, you'll get some of his jokes and things, which I really appreciate. And I just thought it was hilarious.
It was really funny.
What did you think?
I'm trying to figure out why this is playing. Why it won't let me anyway.
Share? Share?
No, I know, but it wasn't copying the right thing, but that doesn't matter. I thought it was really funny. George Lopez is always funny, and I like that he oh, it's still playing. Hold on, stupid thing. I like that he...
you don't have to turn it on to share. You just hit the dots and say share.
Well, I did that, but it shared the whole page as stupid, so I was trying to make sure. I will punch in your dumb head.
No, you will not, because we on live TV.
I don't care. I'll do it in front of everybody.
We are on TVE.
No,
Actually, we're not. We're on the internet.
We're on the internet.
Okay.
I'll put you live in front of Jesus and everyone. But I like that he stays really topical with the Hispanic cultures in the community, while he tries to make it work for everyone, but he's very streamlined to what he's focused on.
Yeah.
And he doesn't try to feel the need to, I've got to cater to the white people.
No, not at all.
You know what I mean?
And he's
like, he says stuff in Spanish and stuff. He keeps inside jokes for the Hispanic people.
Yeah.
And he does this thing. And so, like, there's a lot of comedians when it gets to cultural stuff that they put it in there, but they also try to appeal to the mass on, and not even just white people, but anybody. Yeah. And his stuff is just so funny and works. It works for everybody.
It works for everybody. I mean, and he's just one of our beloved people. Like, my brother is like a huge fan. I think my brother kind of looks like him in a way.
He does a little bit, yeah.
But it's always been such a big deal for us to see George Lopez and to see all the stuff he does and his TV show and then his late night show.
I liked his last show.
I really did too. It was so funny because it was basically him making fun of himself about trying, being an actor and trying to get a gig. And they're like, oh no, they're not into that right now. Well,
it was another case of him playing a fictional version of himself, but probably using his real experiences to do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was really excited to see him come back with a new special.
Me too.
Every special has been good. I think even though he's a massive comedian, he's massive fan base, I still think he's underappreciated. You know what I mean? I don't think he's given the credit that he deserves for the level that he is.
No, we're getting some shout outs. Thank you. People are sharing the page and being like, hey, go watch this. So my gosh.
Oh yeah, that's a whole nother situation going on.
Anyway, so check it out right now. It's available on Netflix. George Lopez special called we'll do it for half.
Sorry,
we can't do it for half.
We're trying to get things done and prepared at the same time.
I'm done. I don't know what you're doing over there. Well, you always tell me I'm unprepared. You need to get prepared.
The one time, the only reason you know why you're not prepared or that you're not unprepared is because you're not doing anything today.
I am doing stuff. I'm working. I need to go back and continue working.
Woman, we're not talking about your stupid job. We're talking about this.
I'm prepared to have.
It's because you're not using a computer today, and you don't have to actually do anything.
I'm using this.
You just have to sit there.
This is a computer in the palm of your hand.
You're a stupid.
Oh my gosh! Gotta tell you about Bobby's parents thinking they need a new computer, and they have.
What is every show being into my parents now?
Let me talk about my parents. For a change, my mom was like, "We can't hear you on the computer." I'm like, "Did you turn the sound up?" I really don't think they had that sound turned up.
I don't think they did.
So when we went over, I turned it all the way up and then, shut down the computer. I don't know. I don't understand people in technology. Then I wonder, are the kids going to think about us this way?
No, because I think we're ahead of them.
Are we?
I think so.
I mean, they had to show me how Instagram worked.
But see, we come from the generation that
we VCR.
Even though we're old enough to be, or at least I am. What are you doing, dog?
He's trying to find a movie to watch.
At least I'm old enough. I don't know if you remember a lot of this, but because I know we're only a couple of years apart, but that little bit of thing changes some stuff. But I remember, not only getting the first VCR, but when they were going through betas and all that stuff.
I never had a beta.
But also,
You're old.
I remember us getting our first microwave.
Yes.
I remember so we were in that.
Did you ever have a black and white TV only?
We had one, but I think we already had a color TV, but we did have a black and white TV in one of the rooms.
Yeah, I did.
That was our big time second TV because it was leftover TVs somewhere. But I think we're in that generation that we were starting to come up with the merging of all the technology.
We're the generation that first got internet.
Because I remember, you can't come this way, but I remember, the first video, maybe not the first video games, but getting Ataris and Pong or whatever it was, where you're doing this. This dog is doing all kinds of stuff under the table. Anyway, we're moving on.
Okay. Check that out.
What else you got? Anything? Or am I going into something?
You can go next, and then I'll.
So I have a plethora of things to discuss. They're all going to be a little bit older now because we haven't done a show in a month.
That's why I got to catch up on
of this show because it's just been one thing after another. One of them was the grandbaby being born. Then it was my birthday and my mom in the hospital and her birthday and work and pandemics and all kinds of drama. So anyway, so I'll dive into this one. They put out the first season of the animated Harley Quinn series that's from DC Universe. I forgot to have my little thing up here. And it has obviously all the episodes from the first season, but they've also kicked off season 2 is on there now. I believe it's finished. And if you haven't checked this out, I'll be the first to tell you, I am not a Harley Quinn fan, or I'll have to say I didn't used to be a Harley Quinn fan because I used to start everything I talked about in relation to the Suicide Squad, the Harley Quinn movie, and the series, that I'm not a fan of the character.
Right.
But I like all of these things that have come out.
Most recently.
Not a fan of the comic. Don't give two craps about her in the Batman animated series. I don't like the whole concept idea. I think it bothers me more, though, about how people have latched onto it. Whereas they start talking about...
It's very unhealthy.
It is. It's an abusive relationship, and I think that bothers me. Not in the context of the comic, but the context of how people have looked at it like, oh my God, I love the Joker-Harley relationship. But it is clearly abusive, and that's what I like about this show.
Yeah.
This show fully embraces the fact that this is a bad relationship, and everybody tells it's a bad relationship.
Yeah.
And so the show's all about her finally breaking away from the Joker and having to find her own way, but now nobody fears or respects her because she doesn't have to. It's very similar to the movie, which you haven't seen yet.
No.
She deals with that when her and the Joker are no longer together, and now she doesn't have clout.
Okay.
So people used to look at Harley and they were afraid to do whatever Harley said because they knew the Joker would probably kill you. Mm-hmm. Now there's no Joker in the mix. They're like, shut up. But what's cool is this show, she ends up teaming up or creating her own team, which it's her and Poison Ivy, which is her best friend.
Right.
You have King Shark, Clayface. Let me think of the other guys. I always forget his name. Did I have it on here? I guess it says. Anyway, it's just a bunch of random. Bane is in there. Or no, he's not with the group. He's part of the Injustice Gang. But you still get the other characters. Some of the Justice League members show up. Batman shows up. So you get a lot of stuff, but it's a very rated R cartoon.
Yes, I know, because I remember watching. I saw a couple of the first episodes with it. I was like, "Whoa, wait a minute!"
And the second season's even more.
Is it?
There's some sex stuff, some lesbian
There's
stuff.
Lots of language.
Yeah, very.
This is not a
violent
children's show.
It's a great show. So season 1 is on DVD now. It's right here in front of you. You can see in all of its glory. And season 2 is on DC Universe. If you have DC Universe, obviously you can watch season 1 as well. So anyway. Harley Quinn. It's available now. And she's voiced by Kaley Cuoco from Big Bang Theory. Cuoco. Anyway, what you got?
All right, next. Another show on Netflix you need to be watching. Mr. Iglesias. Because season 2... No, we haven't had TV Tuesday in forever.
It's only been a month. Has it been? We watched that within a month?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Season 2 is available now. You need to be watching it. It basically stars Gabriel Iglesias, who you may know as the comedian Fluffy. And in this show, he is a school teacher and just dealing with students and trying to motivate them towards their future. And this season is kind of focused on like, hey, the possibility that you can go to college is real. That's kind of where we're at.
But they also deal with cultural appropriation and a lot of the different elements that have kind of gone on.
Yeah.
Prior to a lot of what's happening now, obviously, because it was shot before that.
Yeah, even season 1 was dealing with the culture and should it be Latino or Latinx or inclusion, and then we deal with different race issues, and I think we deal with everything. And then the importance, even this season was like the importance of having the arts in school. Like it is important to have those programs, which funding for schools is crap and nobody cares. But I
will say it is one of those shows that, even though it's a sitcom, it's one of those that sometimes feels like the primetime sitcom, and sometimes it feels like a Disney Channel sitcom.
Yeah, you never know. Yeah, it is.
Like,
it is a little
in the way it's
Disney
shot.
Yeah, it's Disney Channel shot.
Yeah, it doesn't
heavy.
It doesn't feel like like you're watching a Big Bang Theory or something like that. It feels like some kind of thing in the middle.
Yeah.
So but those kids are awesome.
They are. It's a great cast.
Like he might be the star, but the kid's still that much.
There's this one little kid that's kind of like the dumb kid, that one Mexican.
Oh my God, that kid is hilarious.
He's like, but I didn't do it. I mean, it's like so oblivious, and everybody's like, oh my gosh. And then you have the funniest, I think, is the friendship of the little redheaded kid, the chunky kid with the black guy.
Yeah.
And they're like, what they call themselves, like,
oh my God, I forgot what it was.
Domino or Salt and Pepper or something. I mean, they're like this best friendship thing, and it's so funny because I feel like the black guy's trying to understand the white guy, and the white guy's trying to understand the black guy, but they're doing it together. So it's like a healthy representation of how that friendship has evolved. Yeah. It's so fun.
And then you got the Hispanic girl. Excuse me. She's always trying to looking for something to fight for.
Yeah, and then you have the one cute little Asian girl that was too shy to talk in the first season. Yeah. And now she's talking.
Now she won't shut up.
Yeah, and the funniest thing I think are all the teachers, because you have the one very eccentric teacher, the one that's just he's tired of teaching, he's over it, he's just there.
Oh, that older guy.
The older guy, I love him.
And he's the guy from Rocky 5, Only in America.
Yes. Yes. So it's a really great.
Touch me and I sue.
Yeah, who's that other Hispanic guy that's the teacher?
Oscar. Or no, he's talking about his friend.
Yes, but Oscar's funny.
Yeah,
the guy from The Office.
Yeah, Oscar from The Office. The other guy is.
You've probably seen him in every.
Oh my God, he played it. He was in Friday After Next, playing the little gangster guy.
Jacob Vargas.
Yes, thank you.
He's so good. Anyways, and Sherry Shepherd. Yes. Is the principal.
They're all great.
It's a hilarious little show. It is family friendly, so that's one you want to check out. Mr. Iglesias, 2 seasons available now on Netflix.
I thought you were saying on Tuesdays. I'm like, it's on Netflix. You watch it
2 seasons.
I got you.
Okay, next. You can go next.
And how does the theme song go?
Mr. Iglesias, beep beep. Mr. Iglesias. Beep, beep. That's pretty much it.
He's driving his little Volkswagen bus.
Which is funny because we saw that little clip about him. He collects
he collects those. He's got a ton of them.
It's amazing. That's so bizarre. And then he has a bunch of comedy specials also on Netflix. Those are probably not family friendly.
Yeah, not all. We probably should go back and watch more of them.
I know.
We've seen a lot of them, but.
So.
Anyway.
Okay. That was my turn.
Is that his friend?
They're not going to laugh.
What's his name?
Felipe.
Oh, that's not the guy I'm thinking of.
No.
He's always yelling about. All right.
Oh, no. Were they like, what?
Yeah. So All right, the other one I'm going to talk about is the long-running animated series. I'm stuck in animation, but that's not all I'm going to talk about. Is the long-running animated series South Park, which just released its 23rd season on Blu-ray.
Is it the longest one, or Simpsons still ahead?
I think Simpsons is still ahead. But Simpsons still has like the primetime thing where this is a cable network show, and it has shrunk its seasons because I believe early on it was like every other show. Seasons are only like 10 episodes now. Few seasons back, the show started doing more serialized, where instead of just each episode being its own thing, how it used to be,
big arc.
Now they all have arcs, and even though there's some of their own stories, it shifted, and this one's not any different. This season, what was really awesome is every episode had a different theme song. So they reenacted the theme song for each one, and it fit more to whatever the story was. And a lot of this one's about marijuana, because Stan's dad, he got into marijuana and started a farm, and so this season they're living on their marijuana farm, and so it's all the same hijinks, but it's gone way beyond the 4 kids.
Okay,
it's now just every character in the show. Those 4 kids are almost secondary now.
Oh wow!
They're still there. They're still doing stuff. They're still causing trouble.
That's cool that they've expanded the story.
Yeah, but there's so many characters that are, and there are so many new characters that, like I had lost touch with the show until about season 18, and I want to say I watched up to season maybe 10 or 11 when it was coming on, and then whatever reason stopped watching and missed it. And then they started sending me copies for review, so I kind of got back into it. I wouldn't think at season 18, there's so many characters that I don't know who they are. I'm having to figure it out. Yeah, and there's this there's these 2 coaches, a coach and a teacher, that their whole purpose, let me look them up, is that they're hilarious, is they're basically a slap in the face for society about people.
I see Jesus is still there. That's nice. Jesus is still there.
Yeah, Jesus and Santa Claus doing cocaine.
Nice.
There's a whole episode about the detention centers for the ICE kids. And Cartman
told me about that one.
Cartman finds out that you can just make a phone call and they'll take away an illegal alien. So he calls him on Kyle, the Jewish kid, because he's like calling me. He goes, "Remember Kyle when he called me a butthead the other day?" He goes, "Do you want to apologize for that?" And he goes, "No way, jackass." And so he calls him, so then ICE shows up and takes him, his whole family, and then they realize that they've got a Jewish kid in there that's not Hispanic, and so they're trying to figure out how to do it, and it's this whole thing.
Because it suddenly turns into a concentration.
Yeah, and then somebody else turned Cartman in, so then Cartman's there, he got lonely, so he kind of turned himself in so he can be able to hang out with Kyle, but he doesn't realize that you're stuck there. But there's, what is it, PC?
By the way, there are still kids in cages. Let's do something, people.
Where is it at?
It's not okay.
Hold on, I'm trying to find this person. I guess I'm not going to find it anyway. Oh, well. I can't find them. There's these 2 characters that it's like Coach PC or Miss PC or whatever. And then, so they're basically the kind of the running joke in the society of, the people that are complaining about everything and the people that want to, and all their babies are the PC babies. And so when they see something that's not PC, they start, and they start crying about it until you turn them back on like Anderson Cooper or something. And they're like, or whatever it is. Anyway, South Park season 23 the show is still going strong. It's still making fun of everything. It's still not pulling any punches. I was really surprised how good that show still is and still relevant. I figured it would have run its course, and it has not.
It's still fun.
Yeah, it's still awesome. So that's all.
All right.
What else you got, sister?
All right. I'm still in Netflix. We've been watching so much TV in the months that we've missed being with you guys. So we
got to before that too.
We got to talk about the show Somebody Feed Phil.
Oh my God!
Somebody feed Phil. Okay, so the show follows Phil Rosenthal,
the creator of Everybody
Loves Raymond, which was actually loosely based on his own family, which is hilarious. So basically, he's traveling around the world, and it's a food show. So he's tasting all sorts of different foods.
Excuse me.
And his camera crew, led by his brother, is with him.
Right.
And it is the most hilarious thing because he is such a sweet, genuine person.
And he is, and this is going to sound racist, but he is the most stereotypical Jewish person.
He's very
like
Jewish.
Everything you think of in a stereotype of a Jewish person is him.
Yeah.
Like not the cheap, all that nonsense, but I'm just talking about
his mannerisms, the way
his
he
talks, the way he moves, and he is, and I hate this to say, like, sounds sexist, but he is the most unmanly man I've ever seen. Like, just walking down like rocks, he's all like, he's just a gangly
person.
He is,
and he tries a new food, and he's all like,
he's always so excited.
Like he gets so happy, and it makes me happy.
That's what makes him work so well, because we didn't know what this show was, and we started, and I was like,
we watched so many food shows.
I was watching, and I was like, who is Phil Rosenthal? That name sounds familiar, and so I had to look him up because I knew who he was.
Yeah,
but we started watching it, and I was just like. We both looked at each other like, what is going on here?
This is the cutest, most exciting show. Oh my god.
And the best part of the whole show is that at the end of every episode, he Skypes or Zoom calls or whatever with his parents and tells them about his adventures as though he's a little kid out in the world. And his wife, who is also an actress, she played Ray's brother. Oh, I forgot the actor's name.
His brother's
girlfriend, wife, whatever, in the show. It's his
big tall guy.
Yeah. I just went blank. Anyway, that's his real life wife, and she is just as excitable and goofy as he is, which makes total sense on why they connected.
Brad Garrett.
She played Brad Garrett's girlfriend on that, and she appears in a few episodes, and she laughs just like he does, and is just as excited as he is. But watching him talk to his parents. Like a little kid saying, "Oh my God, you know what I'm eating right now? You know what I did today?"
And the funniest thing is his mom's like, "Share some with your brother." And so he's like, "Here," mom says, and he's the camera guy.
Yeah, so he's the producer.
Yeah, well, he's there, and so he has to give him some to his brother. It is so funny.
And then the dad always will tell like an off-color joke. That he says, "Well, I don't know if we can air that one
for today."
And it's not nasty, but sometimes they're just a little, they might be a little inappropriate or dated because the man's probably 80.
And I laugh at all of them.
The
one about the wall, something about, I don't even know. They're just
There was a prostitute one that was my favorite, where they were talking about where the city in Italy they were, and all the streets were basically rivers.
Mm-hmm.
And he says something to the effect of, do you know what happened to the prostitute that worked on such and such a street? And he's like, what is that? She drowned because that whole street was like a river. And he's just like,
that's it. That was it.
The only thing missing was you know.
Oh, Lord.
But it's such a great little show.
So that's fine. And then we've watched several food shows. So let me just tell you about all of them. You need to watch Street Food Asia, which was really good. It went to different Asian countries and their street foods. And coming soon, later this month, is Street Food Latin America. So I'm excited about that. It's on Netflix. We also watched Ugly Delicious.
That's a heavy show.
Which stars, let me see, what's the guy's name? Chef David Chang.
Yeah.
And you're probably, when you see him, you're going to recognize him. He shows
up in a bunch of different shows.
On the Chef Show with
on that, and he does
with what's his name?
Eat, Pray, Eat Food, whatever, with the celebrities too.
Yes, but then also what's the other show with? Was it? I don't know. He shows up everywhere. You're going to see it. Oh, Breakfast, Lunch, and Dinner.
That's the one.
Breakfast, Lunch, and Dinner you want to watch too. It's the same chef, but he goes with celebrities and they go to eat different foods.
But Ugly Delicious is heavy.
It is, because it explores the history of foods we eat.
It does, but it's really about the food. The food's the important part of the story, but it's about the culture and digging into the culture via the food. And there's a lot of elements of like things you don't think about. So like with like for Chinese food, for instance, they were talking about, obviously we don't eat real Chinese food here. But it's like, what is it about Chinese food that there's never a fine dining established Chinese food? It's always considered a buffet, or it's always considered a fast food type food.
Right.
There's never.
And then it gets into the cultural thing, and then it gets into
the racism bias.
The people who've immigrated here and are making the food, and you find out there's so much time and effort put into this food that they really are not charging us what they should.
No, yeah.
But he's like, no, I can't, or no one would buy it. So, I mean, it's insane. And then there's one episode that's just about fried chicken. But then we get into the history of fried chicken, and we get into slavery, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I thought we were just trying to find the best fried chicken.
Yeah, and there's one of them they were talking about, was it the Martin Luther King March?
Yes.
And it was like they were sitting at a table in this diner, and they were talking about it, and then you realize they're sitting at the table where they planned out the march.
I mean, this show is heavy. It gets into all the cultural things that we don't think about when you think about food.
Yeah.
Because there's history in food.
Well, and I remember one of the episodes that we watched, it got real heavy, and we ended and we were like, wow, we didn't expect that tonight because we just wanted to watch a food show.
Well, because he was getting angry about something about Vietnamese food or something. Korean food or
he's
something.
Korean,
okay. He was getting angry and upset about that, and that's just kind of how it ended. I'm like, okay. And then my favorite is he goes to this little hole in the wall place in Asia somewhere in the middle of nowhere, and this guy's making those little skewer meats, and they're like they cook this certain type of bird that's only this big, so the little pieces of meat are this, and how much care is going into that, and he's grilling it, and he starts crying when he eats it because it was the most wonderful thing he'd ever eaten, and he went and he hugged the guy. And he's like, why doesn't everybody know about this? But, you know, when we visit those countries, those are probably places.
That's place you're like, oh, they're making a little bird.
But we've been into some weird little places before that.
Well, and that's really why I'm the guy that goes in to eat.
I had to stop you at the horse restaurant.
Are you crying?
That's where I was like, Why
are you crying?
Because I'm like, don't eat Black Beauty.
Oh. Okay, so we were in Italy. This wasn't intentional initially.
It was an accident.
We were in Italy. We were in Milan. Milan, not Mulan, the Asian.
That's later.
But I would be in Mulan anyway. But no, we were there in Italy, and we ventured out one night. She was there for work, so most of the nights we would go to some fancy restaurants or whatever. We had a lot of great food, but we went one night out on our own, and we just wandered down the street trying to find some place. We finally found this restaurant. We said, let's try this one. So went in, and we're sitting there and looking at the menu. And so you know how sometimes in menus, they'll have like a specific brand that this place uses. You know, like fast food places, a lot of times they only serve like Coke products. You know, it's exclusive. And so on the menu, it had, I think it was something, it was like boar's head, which is like boar's head meat.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, okay.
It was something like that labeled. And we were looking through it. It had all these different sausages and steaks, and she's looking, we're drinking some water and bread, and we hadn't ordered anything yet. And I started looking around the room, and she's looking at the menu, and I'm like, honey, and I shouldn't have told you.
No, I was kind of figuring it out by the pictures.
But the entire place's decor was horses. And which didn't think anything about it, because, you know, we go to places all the time that has some kind of a theme. Mm-mm. And then I realized it was like horse something brand next to the meat. Mm-hmm. And it was basically horse meat.
The entire menu was horse meat.
Not all of it. It had regular beef and stuff too.
No,
yes, it did.
I didn't.
But then she's like, it can't be that. So we got on the internet to look it up and found that there are certain places in Italy that you can still eat horse. And I was excited. I was like, holy crap. I wouldn't normally go eat a horse. But this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. She's like, no, it's not. We had to leave. So I had to pull I forgot my wallet thing so we could leave. I was so upset because I wanted to try some horse sausage.
Mm-mm. That's not okay. Don't eat horses.
It is okay.
Anyway, so other things. No. What else have we been watching? You need to watch Nadia's Time to Eat. I love this little lady.
Did we finish that whole season?
We did finish the whole season, and it's only one season. So it's Nadia Hussein, and we found out she's from where? You told me. That doesn't matter.
I don't remember now.
She's a cute little. She looks Indian, but I don't think she's Indian, and I don't want to say she's something she's not.
So she's Pakistani?
Maybe
I don't know if that's even the right word. Is Pakistani right?
Time to Eat with Nadia. Pakistani?
Pakistani, I think is it. You need to go to her. Right there. Click on her.
I clicked on her. British chef, columnist, blah, blah, blah.
Just says she's British.
Bangladesh. Anywho, she is the cutest little thing, and her entire show is basically how to make really good meal with not expensive ingredients.
And quick.
Quick time to eat foods is what it's called. Time to eat.
And she's giving
you the cheats.
And the show is not it's very stereotypical cooking show, but there's something bright and vibrant about her that makes you.
Yeah.
Well, it's not even just that she's fun. There's just her whole aura. At the risk of sounding like a hippie, she's just very vibrant. Like the colors in her kitchen are very vibrant.
Yeah, she is too.
The clothes she wears are very vibrant.
And her cute scarves.
Yeah, and it makes you just kind of, you just feel good watching that show, even if the food looks gross.
Some of it was
weird. It looks gross, but I mean, like something you may not like. But it's still just like, you smile the whole time you're watching it.
But I like it because it's how to do things quickly and kind of cheaply, and the cheats to get to the big. Like you can have this big, amazing meal, but it doesn't have to take you all day. Like here's the cheat: start with puff pastry.
Yeah, and a lot of it's setting up for being able to do like for a full week, not just that individual meal too. So, and speaking of quick meals, I'm going to throw in one that's not a TV show.
Okay.
I'm thinking about this, but it's on the internet called That's What I Reckon.
Oh my!
That's what I reckon is this guy who's he's a comedian, I believe, and I think he even has a heavy metal band or something. But anyway, he's this guy that I discovered through another guy that I know from him sharing it, who owns Fork in the Road in Arlington, I think it is. Yeah, he owns Fork in the Road in Arlington. But he shared cooking videos from this guy. And so I started watching, and he's this guy that looks like a heavy metal rocker. I believe he's Australian. And he makes these just simple dishes. And I saw an interview with him. He's not a cook. I thought he might be like a chef. He just had a love for his dad used to love to cook. So he's just loved. They asked him, where did you come up with, where did you get your training? He goes, practice and trial and error, So you could tell the guy cooks all the time. Now, who knows? Maybe he's worked in restaurants or something. I'm just going by one interview I saw.
Well, and his thing is how to make everything fresh yourself. Like, don't buy store-bought crap.
And it's always... And
here's how to make it yourself.
It's not necessarily a PG thing, because he cusses a lot.
Yeah.
But he's like... His whole thing is like F-packaged sauce or bottled sauce or
make your own tomato sauce.
Soup. And so he tells you how to make it, but he also is not doing it in a way where he's saying... well, you have to use this kind of onion and you need to chop it up like this. He goes, chop it up however you want. I don't care. Just chop it up and put it in the bowl. He's talking to you like another human being instead of being bougie about it.
Yeah.
But he's still making a very elegant dish at the end.
Yeah.
Like there's one where he's making, is it bolognese? Maybe. Or something else? I don't know. But they were I guess people have been putting something else in it. And he goes, it's not supposed to have that in it. So the whole episode was him saying, guess what's not in this? And he kept going back to it.
He's a mess. You should watch that, yeah.
Yeah, it's called Nat, N-A-T, Nat's What I Reckon. He has a whole bunch of other videos just doing silly crap that you haven't seen. You've just seen the cooking stuff.
Cooking stuff. Next.
All right, so the next show, this is another one. This isn't so much a show, but it's based off a show. This is, make sure I'm saying the right thing, Star Trek Short Treks.
Okay.
Which you should probably watch.
I do. I'm thrilled.
This is these are mini spin-off shows from Star Trek Discovery.
I love Star Trek.
And Star Trek Discovery is the exclusive show on CBS All Access. Season 1 and 2, I believe, are on.
Oh, I think these were online.
They may be on there.
Okay, but this is the collection, right?
This is the collection of all of them.
I'm excited. I've never watched them.
Yeah, no, there's only nine episodes, 9 shorts. 2 of them are animated. The other ones are all actually starring different members of the actual cast.
Nice.
So one of them is funny is that some of it plays into the actual episodes of the show. Some of them are their own independent storylines. There's one that's actually Spock in number 1. The Rebecca Romaine.
Yeah.
Is number 1, and them stuck in an elevator. So it's all this stuff going in like that, and it kind of sets up Spock never showing emotion again. Because Spock's half human and half Vulcan, so he has emotions, and it kind of sets up the tone of the way we know Spock now. Because he does stuff in there, and she's like, she kind of makes her mad. She goes, "Don't ever do that again." So at the end of the episode, he's very like, "Hello," and so now makes you think, okay, he learned that from her, and now we're learning that, if you care about that. But it's a fun little collection. They put them all out on DVD, but I think, like you said, you can probably find them on CBS All Access, I'm assuming. But they're all different little shorts. I think they're not any more than like 15 minutes each at the most. I think some of them are shorter. My favorite, though, is called Ephraim and Dot, and it's this little animated one.
Okay.
And it's this little, you can't really see it, but it's this little green creature that's in space, and it gives birth these babies like on the ship's core. And so the whole episode is this robot that's like almost like a cleaning type security mechanic droid that's trying to get her off the ship. She's just trying to save her babies from falling into the fire core. And so it's this whole back and forth game of cat and mouse. It doesn't really have anything to do with Star Trek, but it does pass on going around during the episode Trouble with Tribbles. So there's like a Tribble situation.
Okay.
But there's also a Tribble story in this too.
Oh, that's so funny.
Where's
these Tribbles?
Yeah, there's a trouble with Edward, and Edward is one of the things he's doing experimentation on Tribbles, and he causes them to spread, and they cover the whole ship. So it's kind of the same idea. And he's played by the guy that's Bob on Bob's Burgers.
Oh, cool.
So anyway, Short Trek, Star Trek Short Treks are fun little mini episodes. If you like Star Trek of any kind, just check them out.
All right.
What else? You got anything?
Okay, yes, I have so many things I've been watching. So I've been watching El Dragon.
Oh my gosh.
On Netflix.
So I gotta tell you, the way she found out about this show,
it's your fault.
It is my fault. She found out it because Howard Stern was talking about this show, and I was gonna watch it too because he started describing. He goes, "I'm watching this most ridiculous show," and it's this Mexican guy that's family's the mafia, but he was in Japan training to be a samurai or something. And the father dies or something, so he comes back home and he's got to be part of the business, but he doesn't want to be. And then he starts kicking people's ass.
That is exactly what the show is about. Okay. Yes, exactly.
I wasn't sure how
Thank you, Howard Stern. And it is all in Spanish. The beginning, we have some Japanese, so there's subtitles because he's in Japan. And he's basically like a high hedge fund trader, but he's doing insider trading. So his cartel ways have not strayed from his life. He's still using that. But yeah, he does get called back home. And it's actually his grandfather's life is being threatened. And he has to step up and become the head of the family in the cartel ring because there's several families. So the way it's broken out in this situation is like there's one that deals with the ladies, one deals with the cocaine, one deals with the marijuana.
The ladies like the hose?
Yeah, one's the transportation company, one's the launderers. So each family in this group does something.
I got you.
So his family, I think, is in charge of transportation, but I think they want him to transport people, and he's like, no, we don't do that. So there's this whole thing. I could be confusing this with this other movie I watched, but it doesn't matter. Anyways, El Dragon, Return of a Warrior.
Have you even finished the season yet?
No, it is so stereotypical soap opera.
Telenovela type
telenovelas,
thing? But with ninja elements?
But prime time style telenovelas. So
it's got the better production?
Yeah, it's got a little bit better production.
I only care about one thing. How are the fights in this show?
So far, we've only seen him do some, what's kendo with the,
so we did some.
All we've seen so far are shootouts with all the
Okay, so you haven't got into the ninja.
Just some drive-bys and stuff.
So you haven't got into really ninja.
Not yet, but if we do, I'll let you know. So El Dragon. It is in Spanish.
I remember when I heard that on Howard, I immediately rushed her. I said, "You have to hear about this show. We got to watch this show."
Yes.
And I never got around to it. And then she messaged me the other day. I've started watching El Dragon, and he's heading back from Japan. And I'm like, oh. All right.
So bizarre.
So. My next show, or are you?
I have tons of shows to talk about.
Well, I've only got to do with these two more.
Okay. We also started watching Warrior Nun on Netflix.
We're only two episodes
and I'm enjoying it. I guess it's based on a book.
Oh my God.
A comic of some sort.
It's based on the comic book Warrior Nun Ariella.
Okay.
By Ben Dunn of Antarctic Press.
Okay.
Who I know personally. I love Ben. He's a great guy. He also shops at Urban Legends Comics. He is the father of American manga. He doesn't, from what my buddy Aaron, who calls him that every time he comes into Urban Legend, he does not like being called that, but it is in fact the truth. Antarctic Press is an American comic publishing company, but they put out manga books.
I see.
So they do Ninja High School. They do Ninja High School still running. They've been running that book forever. I actually loved Warrior Nun Ariella when it came out. It is not the same as this show.
Okay.
The character Shotgun Mary and Warrior Nun and the whole group and the idea is the same.
Yeah.
It's a little modernized and changed up. Because in the show, she wears the habit I mean, in the comics, she wears the habit, but
maybe
it's like
she will later.
But she's not gonna wear this one because she's got the habit, but then she's wearing kind of like this skirt type thing with her legs out and gun strapped to her legs, and then she's got this thing that like her boobs are really big, and it's very anime.
Oh, okay.
So it's very
different.
Very not much. It's an adult kid show kind of thing, but it's a great book. And so, but the show so far, I like the show so far. It's a little slow because it's building everything.
Building your story, but it's good. So you need to check it out. It's on Netflix now.
We got to go finish it, but
go ahead. Next.
And it's only been picked up for a second season.
Oh, I'm there.
And it's very people. I was going to ask you this. Most of the early reviews were already saying that they felt it had a very Buffy vibe. What do you think? As someone who's an insane Buffy person.
A little bit in the sense that we're fighting evil or monsters or demons. The narration is what makes this one different and stand out to me because we get a lot of more narration, and in Buffy there wasn't. So maybe. I mean,
there's somebody on the outside who, although I've seen all the Buffys and Angels and I'm not engulfed in it like you are, I have the same opinion that it felt like Buffy.
Did it?
It's very Buffy-like. Now, again, it's different. It's got a different tone and a vibe. It feels to me like late Buffy, not early Buffy.
Like
not the cheerleader exploding every week of.
That season 1, you got to get past season 1.
Season 1 is awful of Buffy.
It was okay.
When I went back and when I met you,
I'm gonna watch it all over.
When I met you, I'd seen one episode 12 times because that's the only episode that UPN at the time seemed to air, which is this exploding cheerleader. I thought the entire show was an exploding cheerleader. And that's all that happened on that show.
Wow,
I'm like, why is every episode that cheerleader explodes? Is this like a Kilkenny situation?
Yeah, pretty much.
So I was assuming that maybe every episode she could blow up every time. Anyway,
Lord.
But yeah, so she had them on DVD, I guess at the time.
Yes.
Or maybe even VHS.
Oh Lord,
was it VHS
maybe.
I don't remember.
The VHS.
But I went back after we met, and she wouldn't shut up about that show. I was like, fine, I'll watch it again. Oh my God, I struggled with that first, and the fights are bad, the stories are bad. But it was okay. But I feel like Warrior Nun feels very much like the later seasons of Buffy, the darker tone.
Okay.
When they started getting the hell stuff, and
it
had that kind of dark tone to it. But hopefully the demons and the monsters and stuff in Warrior Nun will hold up. The first one they used was fine. Felt a little cheap, but it's also a first season of a show.
The first one,
and it's a TV show, so you kind of have to give it
time.
Yeah, you kind of have to give it some leniency.
Yes.
When you're working with TV and early budget because they don't know what's going to work, and Netflix likes to cancel everything.
Yeah.
So anyway, what else you got? Or can I talk now?
You can talk.
Okay.
I'll have more in a minute.
So my other show, and this has been on for a while, or it's been over for a while, but they put out the Blu-ray sometime back, but we didn't get to talk about it. And I'm talking about the Watchmen limited series that was on HBO. So if you're a fan of Watchmen, I don't know if you even care about the movie or anything else.
I've never. I mean, I cared about the movie.
Did you see the movie?
I saw the movie with you.
So Watchmen is Alan Moore's graphic novel that by a lot of people is considered one of the greatest graphic novels that's ever been created. And it kind of shifted the tone of superheroes in a completely different way.
Yeah.
It's adult element. Zack Snyder's movie, while a lot of people are hit and miss on it, is pretty accurate to the comic. And I'm not as hardcore on the comic, but I do love that movie. So I was excited and worried because Alan Moore has nothing to do with any of this stuff anymore.
Oh.
DC's kind of screwed him over. So he's very much against it. Alan Moore is also a wizard.
Is he?
Yes, he practices witchcraft, just so you know.
Okay. He'll be over there with Walter Mercado.
He's one of these guys who's got the long hair, the beard. He's always got like the big dragon rings and all this. He's wearing he's known for practicing witchcraft. Anyway,
we can't be friends.
But he's who? Me and you?
No.
Oh, he's a brilliant writer.
Okay.
We have a lot of Alan Moore comics and stuff in this house, just FYI. So I don't know if that matters. Anyway, but he's also the one that wrote what is that, From Hell?
Mm-hmm.
That movie. Yes. Alan Moore did that.
I like that.
He's done a few others. League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. He did that. And all of them.
I don't think anybody liked that movie but me.
Nobody did.
I liked it.
Because you didn't know any better.
I don't know.
But
I like all the Bond movies.
But he hates all of that stuff. He doesn't like any adaptation they've done. So anyway.
There's a dog under here.
DC had rebooted the Watchmen stuff. They did a sequel to Watchmen that was but then with the New 52 stuff they did a couple years back, they finally started blending the Watchmen into the actual DC universe. It was always a separate thing.
Oh.
And they blended it into where like Batman found the famed button with the blood in the cave, in the Bat Cave. And they're like, huh? And so then I think they dropped the ball and went away from it. They finished a story called The Button, but I don't think they ever did anything with it.
Well, that's
anyway,
they should have like used.
So they announced they were doing a spinoff. Now it's more of a spinoff from the comic than it really is the movie, but it's kind of its own thing. And what's weird about it, and I was really on the fence, is I watched the first 2 episodes when it was actually on, and then I didn't finish it. It didn't suck me in like I was hoping it would. And then I got this. I'm like, well, now I got to watch it because I got to review it. Yeah. So I went back and started from the beginning, and I rewatched it again and finished it. And let me tell you, by the time this show ends, it's amazing.
Oh, good.
It doesn't feel like it's attached to Watchmen for the majority of the series. It feels like its own thing. And all of a sudden, it takes this turn that is very much Watchmen and connected to the Watchmen universe in this unexpected way. But even what's sad and creepy about this movie is very timely, or this series is very timely to what's going on in the world now. It's very a lot of the segregation stuff between the poor people, some of the races, but it's also like the superhero people are treated differently. The police officers are running around with like yellow masks. Everybody covers their face. A lot of the police superheroes work for the police force now. But the main story follows Regina King. Okay. She's the lead in the show.
Okay, good.
That's her.
I love her.
But you have her, and then you have the backup stories that are kind of happening. And then you have Jeremy Irons.
Love him too.
Who plays Ozymandias, who is an immortal character. He's the immortal character. And so, but this is well after what happened in The Watchmen. And so it's kind of him living out his days alone in kind of isolation. And then you find out why and what happened and how it got, and all of it circles back to what happened in the original story. It's very interesting, but there's a character called, I don't know if it's the Hood or if it's, I think he's called the Hood. But it flashes back, and the whole story is this black superhero story arc. But he's back. He's a police officer, but it's back during like the 40s or 50s, and so it's dealing with racism.
Rough,
him being dragged down the street with a noose on his neck, whatever. And so he becomes this hero that wears a hood and wears a noose. And so it's such a great show, and it's sadly so topical. It's violent.
We haven't changed.
It's got Regina King, Jeremy Irons, Don Johnson.
Miami Vice is in there.
Yeah, Miami Vice is. What is her name? This lady, I always forget her name. Jean Smart.
Oh yeah, I like Jean Smart.
Tim Blake Nelson, who plays another one. He's the guy with the silver mask here. His is awesome. His character is like he's afraid of like aliens and stuff. So everything's got to be silver. So his mask is like this silver color,
like foil.
And he has at one point when he's not in his
aliens are real.
When he's not in his costume, which is literally just normal clothes. They're not in tights. They're like normal clothes. But he's got this silver mask when he's wearing just like a trucker hat. He's like a hillbilly. At one point, he takes a trucker hat off, and its inside's lined in foil.
That's
and then he's got a bunker and everything else. So anyway, Watchmen the limited series, and it ends on a cliffhanger. But in theory, there is no more.
Oh.
And not because they canceled it, because there was never an intention. It's ended on a way of making you wonder what happened and come to your own conclusion.
That's okay.
Now, Damon Lindelof, who did this, has said he's not doing it anymore now. If somebody else wants to step in and take it, he said that'd be interesting to see what somebody else does. But I know a lot of people wanted to go. I'm happy with how it ended. But if you haven't seen it, check it out. I'm sure it's on HBO Max, which has just hit regular HBO, and of course you can buy the Blu-ray and DVD. But Watchmen, it's awesome.
Okay.
You got anything else?
Okay.
I got one more.
All right, we've started watching this new show on Netflix called Down to Earth with Zac Efron. So surprising and bizarre. Didn't even know.
It's funny. I've been seeing people. This apparently is really big right now. So many people have been posting about this and saying, I never thought I would love Zac Efron more.
Me either.
And some people saying, I've always hated this kid. I cannot believe how much I love him now.
He's just a man. So the whole point of this one is he's traveling the world, but dealing with the issue of how can we build sustainable energy, alternate fuel sources. Where does your food really come from? I mean, all of these things. It just when he's finding out,
the kind of show that pisses you off.
Yes, because the science. okay, there's some things that to me seem so
common sense.
Like they're in this one place, which essentially I guess it's a commune, but basically as people use the potty, they filter out the hard stuff, and then the gas, the methane goes and it's stored. I'm like, well, methane burns. They're burning it to create heat.
Yeah.
And they're burning it, and they pipe it through, so you have fire to cook your food. I mean,
and they're these gigantic balloons.
Gigantic.
They're like almost like Zeppelin style balloons.
A fart, which I get it.
A fart.
But I mean, methane.
Well, there's the other one where the
like, why are we not?
They're cooking with dung.
Yeah, cow dung, which we know.
Because he said they have it everywhere, and that's what they cook with.
And as those parts of the world, even in Arab countries, they'll use camel dung to cook your breads or whatever. Because
I think, what is it, the first episode, they're in Iceland.
Yeah.
And this whole energy plant is right next to a volcano.
Yeah, so they're using magma.
Yeah, they're funneling the magma, the steam, all this different stuff. And then they're showing you how you cook. They make like a whole pan loaf of bread in the ground, just right on the street, because it's the hot ground from the volcano.
And then they're using it to churn.
But these are like big corporation type of buildings. This isn't like hippy dippy stuff.
No, and it's by the power, the force of all that, it's turning the wheels.
Power of force.
Yes, that's turning the wheels, which is creating electricity. I mean, duh. Why are we not doing this? We're so dumb. And they were saying Iceland used to be a huge importer of oil and gas and coal, and they don't do that anymore.
Well, see, what's becoming very obvious. What's coming very obvious is most of us all know that money is the root of everything. Like the issues we're going through with this pandemic right now, while the pandemic is very real, the misinformation we're being given on a lot of stuff, all of it circles back to the money and the political.
They want the economy to run.
They're taking something that's very real, it's very scary, it's very dangerous, and they're politicizing it, and they're putting it to financial gain on purpose to make the fear worse, because it's already scary.
Yeah.
And they're making it worse. So I'm not arguing the point that it's not real. I've had people I know died from it. I have people that I know that have it. I have friends that have it. It's a very real scary thing. But people are taking advantage. Just like any other time, if there's a storm out, we make jokes about movies we watch where people are robbing banks during a flood. But stuff like that really happens. And these things are very evident that the other countries are going to eventually not need us at all.
No.
And that's what's going to hurt our country more than anything, is because we're so far behind that, we go through the whole thing where we get oil from, we go to wars because we need the oil. But eventually they're not going to need that oil anymore, because they're doing different things, and they're going to be so far ahead of us because they're using their brain of what's betterment for their people and their country. Like there was, where was it? Was it Italy that had the water stuff, that everybody had fresh water? Even on the street, you could get.
Yeah.
You could just.
I think it was Paris.
Paris, because they had it set to where they had stations where there was free water that was already clean, so that the homeless people could always have access to water as well.
Everybody gets access to clean water no matter what. And here we're buying stupid bottled water, which we find out it's not actually good for you. You do not want purified water or filtered out water. You want water with
spring water,
stuff,
minerals,
minerals.
The stuff that you would normally look at and say, this water is dirty.
Yeah.
And it's not. Those
it
are
makes
minerals.
You angry. So you need to watch the show Down to Earth with Zac Efron. It's actually really, really interesting. And it really does open your eyes to the fact that we're dumb and we need to be creating some of these sustainable things and alternate energy sources.
And the problem is none of this is going to happen here because there's too many people that want to make that cash.
Yeah. They're more concerned with the whole big cycle, which I think we know when you see just the drug industry anyway.
Well, yeah, nobody cares. I was telling somebody else
nobody cares about care.
Like you go here, you have to pay all that money and premiums and deductibles and stuff just to get a pain pill or an asthma medicine that you need. And even then you can't afford it. Yet when we were in Thailand, because I have an ongoing shoulder issue, it hurt. And I went into that little pharmacy, and the guy just said, well, here, take this. Because I decided I was looking for Advil. That's all I wanted.
Yeah.
Man, just take it. And they gave me a pill. And now whether or not they do that all the time, they probably, I'm sure they don't just hand out the medication because they're probably worried about addiction and people selling it. They probably also said, this American guy's not going to be here long.
Yeah.
He'll die in the street before he comes back.
Yeah. No, but I mean, that was the same thing when I would travel all the time. People were like, oh, well, while you're here, go ahead and go do your doctor's visits here because it's cheaper. Like, they even know.
Yeah, my Muay Thai instructor, he told me, he goes, when you come back, since you know you need shoulder surgery, schedule it for when you come back, and you can train half the time, have your surgery at the end, and then go home.
Yeah.
And he goes, it'd be cheaper.
Yeah, you pay cash is cheaper than doing the whole deductible.
And I found out I could actually have just sent like my X-rays over, had them see what they needed to do, be fully prepared, tell them when I'm going to arrive. You know,
it's crazy.
And it'd been done, and then I would be staying at the Muay Thai school because I paid for the room. So I would have trained when I could, and when I couldn't, I'd just stay in my room because I'm not paying to train at that point. I'm paying to use the dorm, and I could have recovered.
Yeah, so maybe we'll do that next time we go. Well, Americans are not allowed to go anywhere.
We can't go anywhere right now because Americans are now the third world country.
Lord have mercy.
Because we don't listen. Y'all thought we were the laughing stock before?
It's worse.
Very much so now. Anyway, the next show, the last show I'm going to talk about, do you have any more after this one? Or we're going to wrap it up?
No, we can wrap it up.
All right. So this is another one that came out for a little bit. I love these movies. I believe there was a series of 3. Only the first one's really good. The second one was decent. Third one, I don't remember it hardly at all. But on AMC, which I no longer have because we stream, and I don't want to pay for just AMC Network, so I don't get to watch Walking Dead or anything else. But Shudder had put out, so I'm assuming if you have the Shudder streaming service, you can probably see it as well. They did the series Creepshow.
Nice.
This the first season is now available on Blu-ray and DVD. Greg Nicotero, who worked on Walking Dead, he is actually the executive producer, showrunner, if I'm not mistaken. And each episode is its own little individual horror story. And the show is awesome. It's set up, you may not have known this, but Tales from the Crypt was originally like a comic book.
Oh, okay.
Before it was a TV series. And this show, this is set up very much like the Tales from the Crypt stuff. So you have, and they wanted it very dated, because when I was a little worried when I first started watching. I'm like, this is very cheese, because it even has like its own version of the Crypt Keeper.
Yeah.
Which is this guy. He's this little thing on the cover. You see him here, but he's a puppet type, not like a Muppet, but you could tell it's not a real thing.
Right.
But each one opens with him like murdering somebody or doing something, and then it leads into that episode. And it's only like, I don't know what, like 10 episodes or something too. I don't remember, but it's got various, oh look, Kid Cudi, who just had a new song, David Arquette, Tobin Bell, Giancarlo Esposito. So it's got a lot of the celebrities, kind of the same idea. There's an episode about werewolves, or some episodes that are familiar from some of the actual movies, if I'm not mistaken, a little bit. So it's a great little anthology type show, and I think they've got a season 2 coming. So if you like the little horror stuff like Tales from the Crypt or the Creepshow movies, then this is a show you need to watch. It's a fun show. It's awesome.
There you go.
So that's it then.
All right.
All right.
Well, I went through all the things we're watching on Netflix. Next week we'll talk about all the things we're watching on Hulu.
Yeah, and
we're watching a lot of TV.
Yeah. So do you want to give your spiels? These are the giveaway stuff.
All right. Well, thank you so much for watching this week's episode of TV Tuesday.
I didn't have all this to talk about.
Oh my goodness.
This is just, you want me to just run through it real fast?
Go fast.
This is the stuff that was canceled and renewed on TV. So let me run through it real fast. This is not everything, but this is what I have. I know we're late. We've gone almost an hour, but we'll go through it. So I have it broken down by network, so we can know. And these are based on shows we watch, not everything.
Yeah.
So
I don't care about all that.
That's right. So at NBC, they have renewed Blackish, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and Superstore. Okay.
Which I'm confused how Superstore is going to happen without the main lady.
I don't know. And Brooklyn Nine-Nine is in question now too, but with everything that's going on, we don't know how they're going to change it. They've also canceled Blind Spot, Good Place We Know Ended.
Yeah.
Lincoln Rob Bone Collector. And Perfect Harmony have all been canceled.
Oh no, I love Perfect Harmony.
I know. There's someone here that's not going to make you happy. Moving to AMC, renewed was American Housewife.
Love it.
I'm sorry, NBC was Blacklist, not Blackish.
Okay.
ABC.
Blacklist still?
Yeah, I thought it was over.
Like 2 seasons behind.
But ABC's American Housewife, Blackish.
Love it.
The Connors.
Oh.
Goldbergs. The Good Doctor.
Yep. Love
and
it.
Mixed-ish were all renewed.
Oh, I love Mixed-ish.
Canceled was canceled and or ended. How to Get Away with Murder.
Okay, I think that ended.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which it needs to. This season's not very good. Modern Family We Know ended.
Yeah. And
School got canceled.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah, well, I like that show too. Fox, both 911 shows have been renewed. All the animation domination shows.
Nice.
Family, all that. Last Man Standing and Prodigal Son have all been renewed.
I like those 2 shows. I love Prodigal Son.
Empire has ended.
Yeah, that's it.
And Deputy got canceled.
No, I like that
guy. I like that show a lot.
Oh, it was so good. But you know what? It kind of ended on a good.
Well, you know what's funny is it was getting so much. I was reading people comment. It was getting attacked.
Really?
Because there were so many. It was the people that are okay with, because they were talking about, how he wouldn't beat people or he wouldn't let the ICE.
Immigration.
Yeah, it was those people. So
ICE needs to go away. I'm supporting that.
So CBS on my list didn't have as many things canceled or not renewed, but the renewed stuff are Bob Loves Abishola.
Bob and Abishola.
Evil.
I love Evil.
Magna PI.
I love that too.
Mom. SEAL Team.
Watch that too.
Young Sheldon.
Yep.
Unicorn.
Yep.
And The Neighborhood.
Welcome to the block.
That's one of her favorites.
Welcome to the hood. I watch all those shows.
I know
you watch
do.
way too much TV.
And Hawaii 5-0 ended.
It did end, and it was the saddest episode. Like everyone was crying. I was crying because at the end he's like,
I haven't seen it yet.
Okay. You gotta watch it.
The CW basically renewed all their shows.
Oh, good.
Batwoman, Black Lightning, Legends of Tomorrow, Flash.
I want to know how Batwoman's going to continue, but we'll find out.
Well, we know it's going to be continued with a new person. We just don't know how they're going to work that story. She'll be Batwoman, but we don't know. She's going to take the mantle of Batwoman.
Flash,
we just don't know what to do. Flash, Legacies, Nancy Drew, and Supergirl.
Oh, Nancy Drew.
I don't know about Stargirl yet, but that show was awesome.
Is it good?
It's another one like.
I wasn't sure.
I was either. I was like, really? But it is a fun show.
Okay.
And I also don't usually like when there's teenage versions of the superheroes.
Yeah.
Of the same existence, but now I've found out that most of them actually exist in the comic world.
Oh, okay.
In variations. Some of them not so much. Like Wildcat is one of these characters I really love, and there's a female Wildcat in here. I'm like, what? And so I asked my comic guru if I don't know what he does, and he was like, yeah. And I went and looked her up. I knew exactly who the stupid character was. I just never related that's who it was. But then, of course, these two weren't so much canceled. They ended. Both Arrow and Supernatural are over.
We need to know what's going to happen with Supernatural.
Well, Supernatural is going to get finished. They're gonna finish the episodes and do a
wrap up,
an either wrap up type movie thing, or they're just gonna end it. So they said they're still gonna be finished. They did announce that. Right. Arrow finished.
Yeah.
So it finished with the big crossover stuff.
I have not watched any of these for like 2 seasons.
You got to get caught up. Flash this season wasn't that good. The problem this season, because of everything that happened, all the shows, with the exception of like Black Lightning, because I think it ended on when it was supposed to, all those other shows ended early, so they didn't finish their story arcs for the season. No. So trying to figure out how they're going to do that. They were talking about it was kind of like when the writer's strike happened. It's very the same thing. Is a lot of those episodes will carry over to the next season, but stuff like Supernatural that was ending, or stuff like Superstore where you were going to have her last arc, and then you don't get it. Yeah, they got to figure out.
I mean, she's having a baby, so it's not like she can come back and suddenly be like, "Hey, let's finish my
story."
Right,
but you're not getting to finish those episodes. Now you're like, "Okay, we can't write her off the way we wanted to." But I think she said she was going to come back and still finish those episodes. So who knows?
Maybe.
We'll see.
Anyway,
so that's it.
That's it. Long show. Thank you so much for watching this week's episode of TV Tuesday. Check out our website, HollywoodMatrimony.com. Also, don't forget to follow, like, share everything. Webpage, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
And we got some various giveaways popping up there really quick on our website at
HollywoodMatrimony.com.
Including Enter the Fat Dragon, starring Donnie Yen in a fat suit.
Cool.
We got Samurai Marathon, which is another movie about samurais running a marathon.
Nice.
That is exactly what it's about, but they're actually fighting us too. And this other movie called Gundala, Rise of a Hero. It's an Indonesian superhero flick, martial arts flick. We also have two, well, it's probably gonna be more than two other ones popping up. We should be giving away copies of Scoob coming up, and 4K versions of Sherlock Holmes 1 and 2, Game of Shadows, The Goonies, and Beetlejuice, all on 4K coming up.
Nice.
So we're gonna have giveaways for those. Some of those are not up, and also The High Note, which we talked about on our show. We'll be giving away copies of that. Cool. These are actually active right now. Those will be upcoming, so you can look out for them.
All right.
All right.
Cool.
Make sure you subscribe to this, whatever this is, YouTube channel, and
hit the button.
Share it out. Hit the button. Tell your friends. Peace and love. Stay safe. Wear your mask. Be nice. And stop being rude to everyone.
Bye.
Bye.